Well, good afternoon. As you know, Hurricane Dorian continues to strengthen and continues to advance towards Florida. We've been very clear with folks for a number of days now, but you need to take preparations for this storm if you haven't already. Here in Central Florida, current forecast is that even if it hits in southern Florida and rides up here, you're still going to get hurricane force winds. We anticipate a lot of rain. Losing power is a big probability. You're also, if an area prone to flooding, you're likely to see that with this storm. It's really, really significant, and you need to take precautions. We've been doing a number of things to be able to assist in the preparation and then position ourselves for the response. There have been shortages of fuel in some of the gas stations. We do have fuel in Florida, but we just have to keep getting it in to refill. We have started doing FHP escorts of the fuel trucks, because what we found in places like South Florida, you would have massive lines and the fuel trucks couldn't get in. And so now we have FHP doing that, and so we're sensitive to need to try to make sure we have as much fuel as possible. We're also now bringing in fuel from out of state, and we thank Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia for waiving their fuel weight requirements so we can get that in here. Comcast has announced it's opening a network of 200,000 Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots. So these hotspots typically you got to pay for it. They're opening those up free of charge for folks. So we appreciate that and are sensitive about the needs to communicate. Tennessee is sending 6 swiftwater rescue teams in preparation of the storm. As we said, we anticipate some really serious water events as a result of this, and we are going to need those. We also have FWC, and we have other assets that are going to be involved in that. Lake Okeechobee obviously is going to take water as a result of this. The lake is a little bit more than 13 feet. It can take some more, but we're cognizant that could be an issue, and obviously we're in contact with the Army Corps, and they're committed to making sure that Herbert Hoover Dike maintains its integrity. We will, as evacuation orders are issued, we will be suspending the tolls once people are starting to evacuate. We also have cleared the shoulders on all the major highways and swept them, and we'll be opening up the shoulders for traffic. People have asked about whether you're going to do only one-way traffic. We're not doing that certainly at this time because we're still bringing in things. We're bringing in fuel. We have utilities pre-positioning assets. So there's a lot of things coming into the state to be able to help fight the storm. We've got a lot of volunteer efforts underway. The Salvation Army has 33 canteens and 2 field kitchens on standby. American Red Cross has up to 80 food distribution trucks available in Florida that they're going to be able to start pushing out. In terms of the schools, there's been a lot of announcements on that. If you want to see all the school closures in Florida, you can go online to www.fldoe.org/hurricaneinfo. But we've announced, a lot of school districts have announced closures. Gulf County on Tuesday, Lake County Tuesday and Wednesday, Brevard Tuesday. Martin is dismissing early today, and they'll be closed on Tuesday. Miami-Dade will suspend after tonight. Orange County closed on Tuesday. Osceola closed on Tuesday. Seminole closed on Tuesday. And obviously, we'll see how the storm goes, but you could see those potentially expand going forward. I want to say I had a chance to meet with the mayor and the emergency team here, and want to commend them for some of the preparations they are doing. They're going to have a number of shelters open first thing Sunday morning. They also are going around to the assisted living facilities for folks, because you submit information, you have generator, you have a plan. Some people don't have any information on file with the state, even though a law was passed. They're going around proactively in demanding accountability and demanding that they produce plans and that they're able to take care of some of our most vulnerable folks. And so I really appreciate them doing that. And of course, just as governor, I appreciate Orange County's role. I mean, obviously Orange County is going to be affected by this, but you're going to have people fleeing from some of the coastal areas to Orange County. And so we appreciate you guys stepping up and helping your fellow Floridians. I can take a couple questions. I'll be going back to Tallahassee after this, and we've got some more announcements that we're working on for later tonight.
Governor, what's your level of confidence in the power grid after seeing what FPL had to do? We obviously have Duke Energy here too. People are most worried about power loss if they're not flooding.
Absolutely, and you should assume that there's going to be power loss if you are in the path of this storm. What FP&L has done, and this is something I've been talking with them about for months and months, just saying, hey, if there's a storm, this is really important, and so they get it. So they got about 14,000 folks that they've brought in from out of state that are being pre-positioned in different parts of Florida so that as the storm passes, they're able to go in and get the power back on. We at the state, with our Florida Department of Transportation, we're going to be assisting them in clearing any of the roadways that may be clogged, because they can sit there and do the power all they want, but if they can't get to the lines, then they're not going to be able to get it back on. And so we're sensitive to that. We're going to be working with them to be able to do that. So look, it's a difficult thing when you have a Category 4 storm that's coming down on Florida's coast. If there's a direct hit in one of those areas, that is going to cause damage. I mean, there's just no two ways about that, and there's no way really to avoid that. But I think from the state's perspective, we've been in contact with all the major utilities and impressed upon them that the response really is aided by expeditious resumption of power. And so FPL gets that. Most of this track is in their territory, but we've also talked with Duke and some of the others, and we realize how important that is.
Governor, is the uncertainty still your biggest challenge? We talked about this yesterday in Brevard.
So here's what I'd say about the uncertainty. I think we have gained some certainty in terms of some of the forecasts. If you look at both the 11 a.m. and the 2 p.m. advisories from the National Hurricane Center, we know now that this storm is going to come west and go north. At what point, we don't necessarily know in Florida, but it seems like a lot of these models are in closer agreement on the current track. And so, if you're somebody in places like Palm Beach County, Martin County, St. Lucie County, you've really got to be listening to your local folks. And if you're in an evacuation zone and told to evacuate, you need to heed that call and protect yourself and your family. But I am also mindful, we've seen some of these forecasts. I remember for Irma, people were leaving Miami going to the west coast of Florida, and then it went the west coast and say they were going over there. So there is some degree of uncertainty when you have a state that is, we're a peninsula. Some places we're not even that wide across. So any error in this forecast, can really throw it in one way or another. So we know it's going west. It's going to eventually go north. Will it go north before it hits the East Coast? Will it go ride 95? Will it go up the center of the state? Will it go up the West Coast or even into the Gulf? We don't know that yet, but I think if folks are in some of those areas, they need to do what's best to prepare. But yeah, it would be great for me if I could say it's been totally ruled out to go one direction or another. That's just not the way it works, and but we're watching this very closely, as I know the folks in Orange County are.
How does it present extra challenges to you, just not knowing exactly where it's going at this point? The models have bounced around, and the whole East Coast is pretty much still under a major warning.
I think it's been a challenge. General Eifert's here. He's in the process of mobilization. Obviously, if we knew that it was going to affect Pensacola or whatever, we would be able to pre-position assets. We still are going to do that, but we're going to have north of I-4, south of I-4 forces in different places. So it makes it more challenging, but at the end of the day, we've got a lot of folks that are working around the clock that are dedicated, and we've got a lot of folks at the county level who are really, really working hard. And I think that, it stinks that we're here for yet another season of storms. The flip side of that is, we've got a lot of corporate knowledge in Florida. We've got folks that are tried, true, and experienced, and this isn't their first rodeo. So that is helpful, when we at the state level are dealing with the folks locally. I've also been in contact with probably half of the president's cabinet. We've been in contact with the Commerce Department, which houses NOAA. We're going to have a NOAA representative in the EOC in Tallahassee. I've spoke with the Secretary of Defense about potentially providing support as General Eifert deems would be necessary on that end, and he was very supportive. So I think we've got a lot of folks that realize this is serious, and I think the fact that the president canceled his trip overseas is proof that the federal government's looking to be helpful on this as well.
Governor, we have time for one more question, guys. One more.
What do you say to people who may be in that evacuation zone, or people who have decided they will not evacuate even if they should be doing that?
Well, I think that would be a mistake too. If you're in an evacuation zone and there's an order issued, that's not being done willy-nilly. I mean, when you're looking at a Category 4 type hurricane, if you're on the coast, for example, places like in Brevard County, you're looking at potentially life-threatening storm surge, and that is not something that you want to ride out. If you evacuate and then the storm turns somewhere else, you go back, you haven't lost anything. If you choose not to evacuate and the storm hits, that's something that could potentially cost you your life, and it's just not worth doing. So please heed the calls of these officials when they make those decisions. And we obviously, at the state, I believe in kind of working collaboratively with folks at the local level because I think you end up making better decisions. But we're providing our input on areas of the state that we think are of concern in terms of evacuations. We're nearing the point now where I think some of these orders are going to need to come down, and just to give people, particularly in the southern part of the state, an opportunity to get in a safe place. But we will have another update from Tallahassee later tonight, and I really appreciate everybody here in Orange County for all the hard work they're putting in. Thank you.